The illoyal betrayal. Are you absolutely sure about Ryan? My brother Marcus asked, his voice lowered despite the fact that we were alone in my kitchen. The timing seems convenient. What's that supposed to mean? I replied, feeling immediately defensive. Ryan had been my best friend for 6 years, my business partner for 4, and the one person who had stood by me through everything, including my messy divorce last year. Marcus sighed, running a hand through his prematurely graying hair. At 35, just 2 years older than me, he sometimes acted like he was my father instead of my brother. Ethan, come on. You win $28 million in the lottery, and suddenly Ryan wants to expand your business partnership. Doesn't that strike you as suspicious? I slammed the refrigerator door harder than necessary, the bottles inside rattling in protest. He doesn't even know about the lottery win. I haven't told anyone except you and Mom. You sure about that? Marcus pressed. These things have a way of getting out, especially amounts that big. I'm keeping it anonymous, I insisted. The lawyer's setting up everything through a trust. Nobody will know. Marcus didn't look convinced. Just, don't make any big decisions right now, okay? Don't rush into anything with Ryan or anyone else until the dust settles. Promise me that. To get him off my back, I promised. But I had no intention of treating Ryan with sudden suspicion. Unlike my ex-wife Allison, who had clearly married me for the potential of my then-fledgling tech company and bailed when it seemed like it might fail, Ryan had stuck with me through the company's worst times. He even invested his own savings when we were on the brink of bankruptcy 2 years ago. Our app development company, Horizon Tech, had finally turned the corner 6 months ago. We weren't rich, but we were stable. With a growing client list and solid prospects, the lottery win would change everything. Not that I planned to pour all of it into the business, but having that kind of financial security would allow me to make bolder moves. Rianne and I had always talked about opening a second office, expanding our team, going after bigger clients. Now I could make that happen without the stress of risking everything. I just needed to tell him about the win first. 2 days later, Ryan and I were having our usual Friday evening beers at McCaffrey's, the dive bar near our office where we'd sketched our original business plan on the back of a cocktail napkin. So Ryan said, signaling the bartender for another round, I've been thinking about that office space in the downtown tech corridor. I nodded, knowing exactly which building he meant. We'd walked past it countless times, joking about how someday we'd have our company name on the directory. The Parker Building. What about it? They got 2 suites opening up next month. I checked it out on my lunch break yesterday, perfect for what we've been talking about. Room to add at least 8 more developers, premium location, fiber internet already installed. I took a swig of my beer, considering. The timing was almost eerie given my recent windfall. That's a big step up from our current rent, I pointed out. Do you think we're ready? Ryan leaned forward, his eyes bright with the excitement I'd seen so many times when he was pitching a new idea. That's the thing, we need to act fast. Put down a significant deposit to hold the space. But I've been going over our projections, and with the Thompson contract coming through and the Westfield proposal looking good. He trailed off, watching me carefully. How significant of a deposit? I asked. 200 grand, he said quickly, as if ripping off a bandage. I know it sounds steep, but that's practically all our cash reserves, I interrupted. Ryan nodded soberly. It's a risk, no doubt. But sometimes you have to go big or go home, right? This could be our moment, Ethan. I stared at my beer, thinking. With the lottery money, $200,000 was nothing. I could front it personally without touching the business accounts. But Marcus's warning echoed in my head. Let me think about it over the weekend, I said finally. It's a big decision. Was it my imagination, or did disappointment flicker across Ryan's face? Sure, of course, he said easily. No rush. Well, some rush. They want an answer by Wednesday. But take the weekend. The conversation shifted to other topics, but I found myself studying Ryan in a way I never had before. We'd been friends since meeting at a tech conference in Chicago. He was charismatic, smart as hell, and had an infectious enthusiasm that balanced my more cautious nature perfectly. We'd built Horizon from nothing together, weathering setbacks and celebrating small victories. Was it really so suspicious that he wanted to expand now, just when we were finally seeing consistent profits? Or was Marcus making me paranoid? That night, I couldn't sleep. Around 2 a.m., I found myself staring at my laptop screen, looking up the Parker Building's leasing information. The available suites weren't even advertised on their website yet. On a whim, I called the building's after-hours security desk. Parker Building Security. This is Jim. Hi Jim, sorry to call so late. This is Ethan Reynolds with Horizon Tech. I'm supposed to meet someone tomorrow to view some available office space, but I seem to have lost the contact information. Could you tell me who handles leasing? That would be Westside Commercial Properties. But as far as I know, there aren't any vacancies coming up soon. Place is full. Waiting list, even. A cold feeling spread through my chest. You're sure? I was told there were 2 suites opening next month. Nope. Last vacancy got filled in February. We're at 100% occupancy with everyone locked into multi-year leases. I thanked him and hung up, my mind racing. Why would Ryan lie about available office space? The obvious answer made my stomach turn. He was trying to get me to put up $200,000 for a non-existent opportunity. But that made no sense. Ryan was my friend, my partner. Our company was finally doing well. Why would he try to scam me now? Unless he somehow knew about the lottery win. The next day was Saturday, but I couldn't wait until Monday to get answers. I drove to our office, using my key to let myself in. Ryan and I had the same access to everything: files, accounts, emails, no secrets between partners. Or so I thought. I sat at his desk and turned on his computer. His password was the same one he'd always used, his childhood dog's name plus the year we founded Horizon. I felt guilty for about 3 seconds before the urgency of my suspicions overrode it. For an hour, I found nothing unusual. Client correspondence, project files, personal emails about fantasy football, and plans with his girlfriend. I was starting to feel like a paranoid idiot when I noticed a folder labeled Parker Expansion tucked inside his personal documents. Inside were detailed floor plans of the Parker building, photos of office interiors, and a draft of a lease agreement. The documents looked legitimate at first glance, but examining them closer, I noticed inconsistencies. The leasing agent's email domain didn't match the company's actual website. The floor plans showed suite numbers that, according to the building directory I'd looked up online, didn't exist. Most damning of all was a spreadsheet titled Investment Recovery, which outlined a plan to secure $200,000 initial capital, followed by a series of transactions that would essentially drain the amount into various accounts while creating the illusion of legitimate business expenses. My friend, my best friend, was planning to steal from me, but $200,000 was a lot of money to risk his reputation and possibly his freedom for. It didn't make sense unless he knew I could easily replace it now. I dug deeper, scanning his email trash folder. There it was, an email from 3 days ago with the subject line, R.E. Reynolds Lottery Confirmation. It had been forwarded from someone at the State Lottery Commission's office to Ryan's personal email. Someone at the commission had leaked my win to Ryan. The email was brief. Confirmed. Ethan Reynolds, $28 million jackpot, claiming through Northern Trust LLC. Payment processing now. Confidential. Do not share this information. I sat back, feeling physically ill. The timing matched perfectly. Ryan had approached me about the investment opportunity immediately after learning about my win. The $200,000 was just the beginning. The spreadsheet showed plans for Phase 2 expansion capital of $2 million once the initial theft was successful. My phone buzzed with a text from Ryan. Hey, thought I saw your car in the parking lot. Everything ok. He must have driven past the office. I texted back. Yeah, just picking up some files I forgot. Working from home this weekend. Cool. Thought more about Parker? My fingers hovered over the screen. I could confront him now, call him out on his betrayal. But something held me back. If I revealed what I knew, I'd lose any advantage of surprise. Still thinking. Talk Monday. Sure thing. Let me know if you want to discuss sooner. I gathered evidence from his computer, taking screenshots and sending them to my personal email before carefully closing everything and shutting down his system. Then I called Marcus. You were right, I said when he answered. Ryan knows about the money, and he's trying to scam me. Marcus didn't gloat or say, I told you so. Instead, he asked the practical question. What are you going to do about it? That was the million-dollar question, or in this case, The $28 million question. I spent the rest of the weekend in a daze, alternating between grief over the friendship I'd clearly misunderstood and cold anger at the calculated betrayal. By Sunday night, with input from Marcus and my lawyer, I had a plan. Monday morning, I arrived at the office early before Ryan typically showed up. I gathered the entire team, all 12 of our employees, in the conference room. I have some significant company news to share, I began, watching their curious faces. Horizon is about to undergo a major reorganization. I explained that I would be buying out Ryan's ownership stake and that he would no longer be part of the company, effective immediately. The stunned silence was broken by confused questions, which I answered as diplomatically as possible without revealing the full extent of Ryan's planned betrayal. Ryan has decided to pursue other opportunities, I said, the corporate euphemism tasting bitter on my tongue. I'll be assuming full leadership of Horizon moving forward, with some exciting growth plans I'll share in the coming weeks. As the team filed out, still murmuring among themselves, I prepared for the confrontation I knew was coming. Sure enough, Ryan burst through the office door 20 minutes later, face flushed with anger. What the hell, Ethan? You're forcing me out. After everything we've built together. I gestured to my office. Let's talk privately. Once the door closed behind us, I turned to face the man I trusted more than anyone except my family. I know about the Parker Building scam, Ryan. I know about the fake lease, the plan to drain the $200,000, and the phase 2 where you'd go after $2 million more. The color drained from his face. I don't know what you're talking about. I also know you found out about my lottery win, I continued calmly. Someone at the commission leaked it to you 3 days ago. Ryan's expression shifted from shock to denial to calculating silence as he realized how thoroughly he'd been caught. It wasn't personal, he finally said, his voice quiet. It was just business. Stealing from your best friend is just business. He shrugged, his facade crumbling. You were going to be set for life. 28 million, Ethan. Do you know what I could do with even a fraction of that? All those years we struggled, barely making payroll, eating ramen while refinancing my apartment, and suddenly you hit the jackpot. Where's my reward for sticking with you with this company? Your reward is your ownership stake in a now profitable business that we built together, I said, my voice hardening. At least it was. I slid a document across my desk. This is my offer to buy out your 40% ownership of Horizon. It's generous, more than fair based on current valuation. Sign it, and we're done. No criminal charges, no public exposure of what you tried to do. Ryan glanced at the figure, his eyebrows raising despite himself. It was indeed generous, nearly triple what his stake was worth on paper. And if I don't sign? Then I'll go to the police with evidence of your attempted fraud. I'll contact the Lottery Commission about their security breach. I'll make sure every tech company in a 100-mile radius knows that you tried to steal from your business partner. Your reputation will be destroyed, and you'll likely face criminal charges. He stared at me, a flicker of the old Ryan, the friend I thought I knew, crossing his face. I didn't think you had this kind of ruthlessness in you. Neither did I admitted. But I never thought you'd betray me either, so I guess we're both learning new things about each other. Ryan picked up the pen, his hand hovering over the signature line. For what it's worth, I am sorry. Not for trying, but for getting caught. And for losing your friendship. That part was real, at least at the beginning. Just sign the papers, Ryan. After he left, escorted out by security with his personal belongings in a cardboard box, I sat alone in my office, feeling hollow despite my victory. The betrayal hurt more than I cared to admit. For 6 years, I considered Ryan my closest friend, someone I trusted implicitly. Now I had to question every moment, every conversation, every seemingly genuine connection we'd shared. Marcus came by that evening with takeout and beer. How are you holding up? I've been better, I admitted, accepting the offered bottle. Keep thinking about all the moments I missed, signs that should have tipped me off. Don't do that to yourself, Marcus advised, settling into my couch. Some people are just really good at hiding who they really are. Ryan had everyone fooled, not just you. Still, I can't help but wonder if Allison was right about him all along. My ex-wife had never quite warmed to Ryan, claiming there was something calculating behind his friendly demeanor. I dismissed her concerns as jealousy over my close friendship. Even a broken clock is right twice a day, Marcus said with a snort. Allison had her own issues with authenticity. Remember how fast she filed for divorce when Horizon hit that rough patch? I did remember. Allison had claimed she couldn't handle the stress of financial instability, but the speed with which she found a new boyfriend, a successful dermatologist with an established practice, suggested other motives. Maybe I'm just a terrible judge of character, I mused, picking at the label on my beer bottle. Or maybe you see the best in people, Marcus countered. That's not a character flaw, Ethan. The world needs more of that, not less. In the following weeks, I threw myself into rebuilding Horizon, not just structurally after Ryan's departure, but culturally as well. I was more cautious with my trust but worked hard not to let cynicism override my leadership. Using a portion of my lottery winnings now securely managed through my trust. I did lease new office space, not in the Parker building, but in a renovated warehouse in the arts district that better fit our company culture. I promoted our lead developer to CTO and hired additional staff, carefully vetting each candidate. 3 months after Ryan's exit, Horizon was thriving. We'd landed 2 major clients that had previously been out of our reach, and our team had grown to 20 people. The lottery win had allowed me to make strategic investments without the constant financial pressure we'd faced in the early years. Ironically, the betrayal had forced me to step up in ways I might not have otherwise. Without Ryan's charismatic presence to lean on, I'd had to become more confident in my own leadership abilities. One afternoon, as I was leaving a client meeting downtown, I literally bumped into Allison coming out of a restaurant. "Ethan," she exclaimed, looking genuinely surprised. "How are you? I heard about the whole situation with Ryan. That must have been awful." "News travels fast," I observed, wondering how she heard. "Text circles smaller than you think," she said with a shrug. "For what it's worth, I'm sorry. I know how close you two were." "Thanks," I said, shifting awkwardly. It was the first time we'd spoken since finalizing our divorce over a year ago. "I also heard Horizon's doing really well now," she continued, an odd note in her voice. "New office, big clients, growing team. You must be working nonstop." "It's been busy," I acknowledged, "but good busy." "How's?" I searched for her boyfriend's name. "Derek?" "Dr. Michael Richardson," she corrected with a slight edge. "And we broke up." "Creative differences," she laughed lightly, touching my arm. "I've actually been thinking about you lately, wondering if we gave up too easily. We had some good times, didn't we?" I studied her perfectly styled hair, designer outfit, and carefully applied makeup. She looked exactly the same as when we were married, but somehow I was seeing her differently. "We did," I agreed, "but I think we both learned what we needed from that relationship." "Well," she said, her smile faltering slightly at my lack of enthusiasm, "maybe we could grab coffee sometime. Catch up properly. 6 months ago, I might have jumped at the chance." Now I found myself thinking about the timing, how Allison had left when things looked bleak and was suddenly interested again now that Horizon was successful. "I appreciate the offer," I said, "but I'm in a different place now. I wish you all the best, though. I really do." Her smile became tight. "Of course. Well, it was nice running into you." As she walked away, I felt none of the lingering attachment or regret that had plagued me after our divorce. Instead, there was only a quiet certainty that I'd recognized something important and avoided repeating a mistake. That evening, as I worked late in my new office, I got a text from Marcus. "Heard you ran into Allison today. She tried to weasel her way back in, didn't she?" "News really does travel fast," I texted back. "But yes, she did." I declined. "Proud of you, bro. By the way, Mom wants you over for dinner Sunday. Says she's got someone she wants you to meet." I groaned. Our mother's matchmaking efforts were well-intentioned but usually disastrous. "Tell her I'm busy reinventing myself as a discerning bachelor." Too late. She says her friend Claire's daughter just moved back to town. Apparently she's an environmental lawyer who hates small talk and loves old sci-fi movies. Sounds terrible. You'd better come rescue me from dinner with her. I laughed despite myself. "Fine, but you owe me." 6 months ago, my life had been upended by betrayal. First my ex-wife leaving when times got tough. Then my best friend attempting to steal from me. I questioned my judgment, my ability to read people, even my own worth. Now, although more cautious, I realized these painful lessons had actually freed me. I discovered my own resilience, my capacity for leadership, and most importantly, my ability to recognize genuine connections versus those based on what I could provide. The lottery win that Ryan had coveted enough to betray me for had changed my life, but not in the way either of us had expected. The money itself was almost secondary to the clarity it had brought, exposing people's true motivations and forcing me to confront truths I might otherwise have continued to ignore. As I looked around at the company I'd rebuilt and the life I was crafting on my own terms, I felt something unexpected: gratitude. Not for the betrayal itself, but for the growth it had catalyzed. Sometimes the most loyal act a person can perform is to show you exactly who they are, even when that revelation comes through betrayal.